What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and yes, I am back at it again. And this is BOFURI. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. Episode 11, and it was pure epicness, greatness, fire, and everything you can think of. This episode was that because we got a guild master fight between me of the Flame Emperors and Maple of Maple Tree, and it was absolutely epic. We see me throwing out every attack and her subordinates throwing out every attack they could possibly think of, and it done nothing to my girl Maple, nothing at all. It did knock her back, and we also learned that when she's in the Archangel protection mode, that knockbacks are the only thing, that and piercing attacks are the only thing that kind of really affect her, and knockbacks kind of, of course it knocks her back, and she can't really cover anyone because they're not in the circle anymore. But she can use cover move to come back and to appear before them. But if someone launches the attack fast enough, she can't make it in time, and that's what we see with the fight between her and me taking place. And we see me unleashing all of these, unleashing all of these different kinds of attacks with her subordinates, without her subordinates, and everything, and nothing was working because Maple was still putting in work. Huge shout out to Mai and Yui as well, because they were trying, but me is such a skilled combatant, they really weren't ready for her. But Maple, on the other hand, Maple's defense is, is godlike, but she was prepared for everything except for the knockbacks that me was throwing out. So all of the other attacks wasn't doing anything, but the knockbacks was, of course, knocking her back. So Maple decided to try out some other stuff and, use Hidara and everything to try to combat me. And she was doing okay. She was holding her own, but she really wasn't getting anywhere because every time me would use some of her different flame powers, Misery would give her some more potion to get her back to where she was, and then me came out with her ultimate move, which is like a flame imprisonment to imprison Maple, and we noticed that it was actually taking Maple's health down. It wasn't doing it fast, but it was doing it at a considerable rate, and Maple was like, okay, but I gotta think and do something. She was launching all of her attacks throughout this whole fight, except the giant mech, and when she turns into like the demon lizard or whatever. She hasn't used that one at all yet. Now, and that's going to come into play when I talk about it in a few minutes. So we see that fight going, and then me uses the flame imprisonment and captures Maple, and it's taking down her health. And Maple decides, well, I didn't want to use this because Sally told me to keep it a secret, but she unleashes the giant, I still can't say unleashes the giant mech, and she goes ham. She destroys everything in her path. She kills all of me's companions that was left there on the field, and she was finna demolish me, but Misery ended up wrapping her in like an orb or whatever and saving her. And she was so distraught and upset that all her companions were gone except for the ones that ran away. So she was trying to think of anything she could do to just stop Maple in that moment. So she decided to sacrifice herself with like a destruction thing. Like her ultimate move was like a self-destruct. And she was going to use that to blow up Maple as well. But we all know Maple's HP is so high and her defenses is so high that it doesn't matter. She used self-destruct and it done nothing. But at the same time, some of her other members took their orb, so Maple and them couldn't grab their orb, and that's how the Guild Masters fight ended for that part. Then the rest of the episode, we see Maple and them deciding to attack other guilds because they couldn't get Me's guild, and then we orb couldn't get the Flame Emperor's guild orb, so they decided to attack other smaller guilds. Now all of this is taking place, but we also learned that all of the other smaller guilds, they're pretty much taken out of commission, and some of the medium guilds as well. So Maple and them, I think they captured maybe 2 or 3 orbs out of all of their raiding that they were doing. They didn't capture that many orbs because all of the smaller guilds and the medium guilds are gone. I'm pretty sure like the only smaller guild left now is probably Maple and a couple, maybe just a couple more, but they're pretty much gone. And we also know that the Holy Sword is still at the top. They have more orbs than anybody, and that's where the rest of this episode goes. We also learn, well, before I do that, before Me's companions was defeated, she sent a message to somebody, and I'm assuming they said a name, but I haven't heard the name in the series, so I'm assuming that must be Pine or Paines or whatever, like the Holy Sword Emperor Guildmaster's real name or name that another name that he goes by. So she sent him a message. I'm assuming it had to be him. So they decided, and we see Maple and Sally and everybody else trying to work up a strategy, and they're deciding, well, okay, well, we could take our orbs and hide, and because we know that the Holy Sword are going to come attack us. And Sally's plan was spot on. They can take their orb, hide, because we know that they're coming. But at the same time they're discussing this, the Holy Sword is discussing about coming to attack Maple Tree. And boy, we got another Guildmaster fight. We got another Guild fight, and it was we got teased with it because a lot of action was taking place. Everybody was kind of having their own fights. The 4 members of the Holy Sword and like our 6, Maple, Sally, me, you, that's 4, E, 5, 6, 7. So our 7 members of Maple Tree were combating these 4 guys, but it's pretty evened out because, let's be real, Sally and Maple are our 2 strongest guild members, and everybody else, like, they can hold their own, and they're pretty strong, because I feel like Kasami's strong, and Kurumu, is his name Kurumu? I think it's Kurumu. Anyway, he's strong enough too, but these other 4, like, they're the top players. Like, they're top players, and they decided to come together and make a guild. So we all know that they can hold their own in a battle, and they decided to combat Maple Tree. So there's a full-fledged fight going on with Maple Tree and the Holy Sword, and everybody's putting in work, and it's going ham, and Maple Tree looks like they're losing. Now, the only thing is, if I'm correct, we know that me sent information about Maple's giant mech powers to the Holy Sword, and that's kind of what set them in motion to go ahead and decide to attack Maple Tree, because they have a lot of orbs and they kind of just want revenge against Maple. Now, this is kind of just me going off into my own thing. I don't understand everybody's hate towards Maple. I understand that in games like this, you know, if you team up with some people in a stronger guild or whatever, you stand better odds of defeating the monsters. But the only thing is, it'd be different if Maple had cheated to get what she got. She didn't cheat. She didn't break any kind of rules. She played the game just like everybody else. But for some reason, all of these people decided to hate Maple because she didn't break down her stats like any other normal person. She decided to put all her stats in vitality. That's her objective. She can do whatever she wants to. It's her character. I don't understand why these people are so upset about Maple being stronger or her taking a lot of recognition from all of the other players and everything. It's her prerogative to do whatever she wants to do with her character. Ain't nobody tell you to make your character, okay, well, I'm going to make my character strong, fast, smart, and everything. No, she put all of her stats in one bucket. And that's fine if she wanted to do that. You make your character how you want to make your character. That's the point of a video game. You can make the character however you want to be. You can kind of relate it to your persona in real life, or you can make it purple with yellow eyes and a tail and fangs and everything else. That's the beauty of a video game. I don't understand why they're all so jealous and envious of Maple. But so their fight is going, and everybody's Maple Tree is pretty much getting beat. It's not one-sided, but like their attacks are landing, but Holy Sword attacks are kind of doing a lot more damage. Then we have Maple and Pine, I think that's his name, actually going hand to hand. And Maple is trying to use her Archangel powers to, you know, cover everybody, but she has to stop that. Sally tells her that so she can focus on her own self. And somehow Pine starts to use some of his attacks, and Frederica, I want to say she kind of launched an attack that kind of boosted all of her team's powers or something, because all of a sudden dude started to glow real bright, and he attacked Maple, and he hit Maple, and it was taking down her health like crazy. It didn't say that she was defeated because the episode ended before that could actually be confirmed, but her health was declining very, very fast. But the only thing I have to say about that is she can't use the mech thing, because I feel like dude is going to be on the lookout for that. But he doesn't know about the giant demon lizard thing that she can transform to. Granted, that doesn't really, I think, like, she's more vulnerable when she's in that mode. But they don't know about it. So I feel like that is definitely going to come into play in the in next week's final and last episode, because I feel like we can't, and even at the end when we see all the people talking, everybody was like, oh yeah, the get Maple, and some of the people were like, well, you know, why aren't you guys rooting for Maple? I mean, she's the underdog. Root for Maple, man. Come on, be for real. Don't let these guys win all because they're jealous of Maple and everything that she's achieved because she decided to create her character her own way. It's a video game. And I love this anime. I really, really do. And this episode was epic. Everything else happened was great and I loved it. But leading up to this point, it led up to this point, if you get what I'm saying. Like, everything that happened was wonderful and fun, but it led up to this point to us actually having a throwdown with the guild masters, and it's gonna be epic, because I guarantee you, he knows about the giant mech, but he doesn't know about the demon dragon lizard thing she can transform into, and I think that's gonna be Maple's trump card when it comes to defeating the Holy Sword, because I guarantee you, Maple is not losing. Maple Tree does not lose, okay? We're not Maple Tree isn't losing. This is your boy, Dick Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life. And Holy Sword needs to lose. Let's be real. Peace out, man.
Are we gonna play now? Ready for the show? I'm about to take down, you already know. Get the fuck out of my face now, yeah, you got it.